What date is it today? 12th.
You're not having the name for other things?
12th of September.
I realized that I want to know about all the classes.
Yeah, I want to, when I'm starting, that's why I want to enroll for the classes.
After the
Same
class,
thing.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do we have to teach
The
Chanting. Yes. Day 3, Who Am I? Section 1 of this class will be Why Put Faith in Scriptures. That's what we ended. In day 2, we ended with that particular thing, Shabda Praman. Do you remember? That's what we're going to revise and then start off from there. So we link well. Section 2, Who am I? What is my identity? Section 3, how many bodies do we have? 5. She says 5. We'll know. Proof for existence of the soul. Do we have any proof? Again, I told you, Bhagavad Gita is a science, right? So we're going to prove everything. Just as we proved the existence of God last time, we will prove the existence of the soul in this class. And the last part is FAQs, frequently asked questions, random things which we get to know, which we want to know, and it's better to know about the soul, right? So the 5 sections of the class, we begin with the first. Why put faith in scriptures? This is the same thing that I put up here. We'll proceed now. So I put faith in scriptures because they are a map. What's a map? M-A-P. Does anyone remember? M stands for manual. When you buy a washing machine, there is a manual along with it. When you buy any electronic item. So this whole creation is like a yantra. If you see, yantra is a machine. It's moving, right? And it does have a manual of what has to be used, how to get happiness, right? That's our prime concern from day 1. Correct? We got to know about God, more knowledge about God, more knowledge about Him, because I want my happiness, my temporary or my permanent happiness. What do we want? My permanent happiness. The key lies with Him. I want to know more about Him and how to get that key to my happiness from Him, right? So I have to know something about myself also, that identity. More about myself, more about God, and I get to know myself from scriptures because they are a manual. How do you know a manual is correct or full of errors?
because you can.
It will not work, right? Vedic, every statement of Vedas is like an axiom. That's A, M-A-P. A stands for axiom. What's an axiom or what's an axiomatic truth? Something which does not have proof. You have to try it.
I'm very sorry.
No problem. Please come. I think your notes are here. This is for all the sessions, huh, Manjari? Again, part 1 is where we started from. Why put faith in scriptures? Because it's a manual. A is axiomatic truth. That means it doesn't require, how to find a proof, you have to try it. The proof of the pudding is in eating. Correct? How do I know the taste? When I put it in my mouth. So when I try things, that's when I actually find out how it works. So every statement of the Veda, in fact, remember I told you I think we met on Friday, last Friday, I told you that the Vedic statements, what is the authority? What do they challenge? That if even one statement of the Veda appears contradictory or it's proved to be wrong, then you can reject the entire Vedic statement. Is that okay? Yeah, that's what is written in the Vedas. So then with that axiomatic truth we have something called predictions. Even if we take technically or scientifically that these Vedas were written by someone 5,000 years back. If they were written, how could that person predict so many things? Prediction of King Ashoka, prediction of Chanakya Pandit, prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? All these personalities, prediction of Lord Buddha, the name of their parents, their birthplace, their activities, everything. So then at least we come to one conclusion, that the Shabda Praman or hearing from an authority, not just any authority but the Vedas, or like a manual, which every word is an axiomatic truth, and the predictions, we understand that we can put faith in scriptures. Manual, axiomatic truth.
Axiomatic means something which does not require
any proof. You have to try it and then it works. For example, I'll give you a geometrical axiom. What's a geometrical axiom? The point is a circle with a radius 0. Radius 0 doesn't exist. If you try with a pencil, what happens? It works. You'll understand what a point is. Correct? So when Vedas say that cow dung is pure, you might think, how is it pure? Correct? How can it be pure? It's a dung of an animal. Correct? But laboratory tests have shown that they have anti-repellent properties. Yeah. Correct? Antiseptic properties and anti-repellent. It repels mosquitoes and insects. It can kill. Correct? So that's why it's called pure.
You can also use it as aid for cooking.
Aid for cooking, yeah, that is the gas energy which comes out of it. Yeah. So astonishing predictions of scriptures is the last part which authenticates the scriptures more, Lord Buddha. So why should we put faith in our scriptures? If a child wants to know who is her father, what should she do? DNA testing? Of how many men? Of how many men? How many can she? Yeah? All the possible men that her mother has met? Or all the male on the planet? Yeah? We actually have a whole thing. Assuming you test only 10% males on the planet, what will happen? To test each male it takes about 100 seconds. Your father will be dead till that time. Yeah? So much of junction. Like once Madhu said, the easier thing would be just have faith in your mother's statements. When your mother says that this is your father, you believe it. Right? So this mother or the Shabda Praman is what we actually follow in daily life. Right? Faith is an integral part of our life. How many of us make plans for the next day? You have a diary and monthly, yearly plans. Are you so sure? Can you give it to me in writing that you survived so long? At least till you made the plans?
Not sure.
Not sure?
We live on hope.
We live on hope. We live on faith. Isn't it? When we go for a surgery, do we really check for the doctor's authentication, his credentials and what are his... Do we do it or is just... Really? My God, such a big surgery, you're going under a knife and you don't even check anything. That's what all of us do. Huh? Before we sit on a airplane, do we check really? They announce the name of the pilot, but really do we care? Honestly, most of the time I don't even hear it. He addresses us, he or she addresses us, but then what? It's faith. Somehow when there's a reason of God, people say, oh, this is blind faith. Blind faith hum nahi dal sakte. So many people say, oh, Gita is, it's not practical. Have you even read it? Have you even tried the instructions or things in it? Yeah. So scriptures are like our mother. Vedas are like our mother. The Bible, the Quran are like our mother. And she will give information about our Father, the Supreme God. How do I know? Why is scripture so important? To get knowledge of any particular subject, we refer to a book in that field. Correct? If I have to know about engineering, I'm not going to pick up a botany book. I'm going to pick up an authoritative engineering book. Correct? So if I have to get to know about God, we must refer to the scriptures. That's the only way to understand spirituality. And because it's a manual, when you read it and when you try to apply, if it works, what happens? Your faith grows even more. Right? But begin. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Begin. Correct? So faith leads to many superstitions. Isn't it better to rely on science and technology? Now what would you say? Now finally we've come down that Shabda Praman is the best. Would we rely on technology? We're not asking you to put blind faith. Yeah? But what we are asking you to do, that at least read the Bhagwate Gita before rejecting it. Or at least read the Quran and Bible, what it actually speaks, than rejecting. Many people say that all the wars have been because of religion. World War I and World War II was because of religion? Why do we say that? No, it was not because of religion. Why do people speak like that? Because there are some fanatical groups doing this. Correct? So just because there's a cataract in the eye, do I just chuck out the entire eye? There's a problem with the understanding of these scriptures. Do I just put them off? No. Understand them better or cure the cataract. Cure the eye of the cataract. Is that correct? So we'll move ahead, and the scientific process of verification is very important. So that's when you actually follow a procedure. So in scriptures are like our mother is the first part of our class. So we have to find out even our identity and our connection to God through our scriptures. The next part of the class will be who am I? Who are you? Imagine, I'll give you one example now. There's a very nice friend of yours, and she owns a Rolls Royce. Okay, just imagine. And she's going on the road and she meets with an accident. Okay, just imagine. And then what happens? You have two choices, either to take the Rolls Royce to the garage immediately because it's a real expensive car, or you can take your friend to the hospital. What would you do? Rolls Royce is so expensive. उसको ऐसे ही छोड़ देंगे. You'll take your friend. Are you sure you want to do that? This is Dr. Harry Monson. He's professor of anatomy in the Illinois College of Medicine. He says that human body consists of basically this. Can you see? Yeah, is it visible? Calcium is 5 pounds and potassium is 9 ounces. He's just broken down all the possible things in our human body, in our bones, in our blood, in our, all different organs. And what does he say? If you try to sell all this, what you will get is 110 rupees. So my question again is, would you take the Rolls Royce or would you take your friend? 110 रुपए के लिए Rolls Royce? Come on, yeah.
Is it never talking about the physical body?
We're not talking about the physical body exactly. You are definitely more than this body. Right? What you mean to your parents, what you mean to your children, or what you mean to your spouses, or the people who love you around is not 110 rupiah. Is it? There's definitely something more in this body, correct? Why would you otherwise leave a Rolls Royce and go for your friend? This trust faith, there's definitely something more precious in that person. Yeah, that lagav, that love, or that, that exchange that you all have is definitely worth more than this. More expensive even that car. Correct? So what do scriptures say? What does our mother say? She says that you're not this body but the spirit soul. It's the spirit soul which matters. Not the physical body of that person. Correct? Imagine, if it's a phone call that you get, just randomly that such and such person, Mr. X, has passed away. For most practical reasons, sometimes you might ask how and, maybe grief for some time. But for practical reasons, most of us, the first question we ask is that what time are they taking the body? Is that right? So that you can gauge how much time I have to reach that particular place. Is that okay? Do we ask this question? Yeah. If you just kind of introspect your own statement, is that you've even stopped referring that same physical body with the person's name. You call it body. Yeah? Is that right? Even though when you reach there, you'll cry tears, you're missing that person. But when the body is lying right down there, and we, a very decent way of saying that so and so person has passed away, means what? Who has passed away if that dead body is lying there? What is dead and what is alive? It's the presence of something else. Some consciousness, the life power or whatever you call it, is gone. If the scriptures say that we are Atma, we are soul, we are not this body. What the body is to us is like what the driver is to a car. That's the analogy here. Just like we have a body, we drive a car. We have mouth to speak, a car has a horn to express, to sound. Eyes to see, there's headlights to see. Your heart to pump blood, there's radiator to supply water. Hands and legs to move, there are 4 wheels to move. The point is the car cannot budge 1 inch without the driver. Is that right? Yes. Same way, the body cannot function even for a second without a soul. The minute the car is moving, you understand there's a driver inside. So if you see something growing, something conscious, something living, something alive, you have to understand that there is a soul. Is there soul in animals?
Yes.
Is there soul in plants?
Yes.
In bacteria, in insects, in animals? Almost till the 15th century, even the Catholic Church would think that, animals don't have soul. Women don't have soul, that's what they would say. It's quite weird, because what the principle is what was difficult to understand. Soul means consciousness, life. When that is gone, the driver leaves the car is just like a dead vehicle. It's dead, doesn't move an inch. The minute the driver is in, the car starts moving. Is this analogy clear? So what the car is to the driver, the body is to us. Yeah. So now the point comes up. This lady who had a very beautiful, rare species, of this parrot. Beautiful music this parrot would make and everything. And this parrot was so precious that she kept it in a golden cage. Every day she would wipe the cage, clean the cage very nicely. One day she saw the parrot is dead. She forgot to feed the parrot. She was busy cleaning only the cage. So what is the point? Just as the bird is trapped in the cage, the soul is trapped in this body, made up of, that cage was golden. Our body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. 8th standard textbook. At least this much is clear. Correct? Not knowing their real identity as the soul, people spend all their life polishing the cage. Polishing the body. Pampering the body without feeding the soul. But I eat 3 times a day. It's food for the body. Just like petrol is to the car, food is for this body. What about the driver? If you don't pay him, what happens? He leaves the car. Correct? To think of something that we are not means that we are crazy. Yeah? When Jawaharlal Nehru first time he went to this mental asylum, and he was a prime minister, ruling prime minister at that time. And when he entered the mental asylum, he was meeting the patients and the doctors and the nurses and everyone. And one of the patients asked him, "Who are you?" So he said, "I am Prime Minister of India." So he said, "Oh, you've come to the right place. 5 years back even I used to think like that. Don't worry, you'll be alright." So to think of something that I'm not means I am. Thank you. To think that we are this body and not the soul means that we are crazy. This body, now suppose if someone asks you, you go to your child's school, assume, and someone asks you, "Who are you?" What will you answer?
Mother of so and so.
Mother and so and so. You go to the passport office and someone says, "Who are you?" What will you answer? Yeah, the name that I have. Yeah. If I go to a foreign country, when they ask you, "Who are you?" you say, "I'm an Indian." Identity is something which is changing all the time. Somewhere I'm a mother, somewhere I'm a wife, somewhere I'm the boss, somewhere I'm, something else. So what's the point? Identity is changing everywhere. These are the roles that I'm playing. Is that right? But what is my identity? This body is, which is, this body has a particular designation. This gross material body that I have has a particular designation. I'm playing the mother, I'm playing the wife, somewhere I'm playing this, somewhere I'm playing that. But the most important thing in me, when does these roles get lost? If I have to leave my body today, what about all the roles? Sometimes we think, mere bina to ghar chalega hi nahi. Isn't it? Sometimes we think like that. Without me, how can these children function? How can my husband function without me? Isn't it? This person doesn't value me. The day I leave, but then what happens? The body is what we're going to leave back, and plus also the identity which belongs to the body. That is the cage. What is more important is my identity as the soul, who's a child of the Supreme Lord. Unless I don't get this identity and I'm stuck in all these roles that I'm playing. Imagine she's an actress, right? and you play, suppose if you're working in different roles that you're playing throughout the day, what happens? In the morning you have a particular role, in the afternoon you have a particular different assignment, in the evening you do something else. If you forget yourself as an artist, what happens? As a person who belongs, your name is Madhu. If you get lost in your roles, what happens? If your time is only going in playing these roles,
You become mad.
yeah. To think of something that you're not is, you're going to go mad, because you're going to find it, you find it very difficult to play all these roles when you lose your own identity. Yeah? And we think about stress, because I have to do something as a mother, I have to do something as this, as that, as as a daughter-in-law, as a mother-in-law. So many roles that I'm playing. Unless, I don't get a stability of understanding who I am. Once you understand I am an artist, it becomes more easy for me to play and divide the roles that I'm playing. You go in, you come out. You go into that character and you come out. Right? More of this we learn in the next. Why put faith in scriptures? Because scriptures are like our mother. They are a manual. They have axiomatic truths. There are predictions which give authenticity to the scriptures. Following the scriptures, I understand who am I. I am the body. I am not the body. I am the soul. I am not this body. I am not the cage. I am the parrot.
So, like they say, the body ages. Does the soul
You ask someone who's old, do they feel anything different than
Now.
what they were as a
I
child?
would say I still feel very young. I mean, must be one of the oldest over here.
So it's just the body that wears and tears
Yeah.
and becomes old. The soul remains.
Just like the driver. The driver is not dependent on the car. The car has to, get a overhauling, repairs and this and that. The driver has an independent life. Correct? We'll come to that more. What happens to the soul? Why put faith in scriptures is clear. Who am I? I am the soul, not this body.
The soul, I had a different. This, I mean, maybe off, I don't know. As you were saying, as you've seen, does the soul feel aged or something? I would say, does the soul feel tired? Or does the soul feel that, okay, this is my last birth and that's it? Or, I mean, I just want to.
We'll come to it when we're doing this. How many bodies do we have? Actually, that's the third thing. Should be interchanged. How many bodies do we have? Then we'll understand who feels what. Unless I don't know what this soul is made up of. Like this material body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, which is perishable. What about the soul? Is it also made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether? Then it would have been dead. So what is the soul made up of? We'll come to that. So the third thing is, how many bodies do we have? That is the third thing mentioned here. One second. Yeah. See, even this thing of the slide, na? Just 1 second.
We don't have that picture. It's behind. Behind that picture.
Is that okay? How many bodies do we have is part 3 of our class. Part 1 was, why do we put faith in scriptures? Who am I? I am not this body. I am the soul. How many bodies do we have? She said 5. Anyone else?
Physical body, Manu, Nanu, and.
Where did you read this? Oh. Anyone else? You can't answer, huh?
I just know, I think physical body, man, then knowledge, and then Atma.
You're close. You're close. We'll make 3 broad categories. We have 3 bodies. My God. एक झेलना इतना मुश्किल है. We have 3 bodies.
I forgot the pran.
Pran is the soul, the life, consciousness.
Yeah.
We have 3 bodies. One inferior, which consists 2 things, and one superior, which consists the soul. Just take a good look at this. The inferior body has 2 parts. Number 1, the gross body. Number 2, the subtle body. Gross body is made up of earth, which includes all solid elements in my body, the flesh and all these things. Water includes all liquids in my body, blood and all these things, right? Fire includes all fire, heat and combustion. To digest my food, I need some fire element, some acids, correct? All this is the fire element of my body. Air, all wind and gases in my body. Ether includes space, sound and vacuum. Is that okay? Earth is all the solid elements in my body. This flesh. Water includes all liquids. We have 70% water in our body, right? इसलिए वो 110 हो गया. Water is useless. Fire includes all fire, heat and combustion. Air includes all winds and gases. Fifth is ether, includes space, sound and vacuum. There is all these
As in,
space, sound and vacuum.
as in?
In my body, all these elements are mixed. Yeah, there's some vacuum in my body. Also, there's some space in my body. Sound, which is there in my body. So whenever we ask somebody in the audience, how many bodies do we have? They think about this gross body. Most of them refer to one. एक ही तो है. That's what we can see. Correct? So this particular one that they're talking about is this gross body, which is made up of earth, water, fire, air and ether. Is this clear? The second type of body, the inferior material body that I have is subtle body. What is subtle body? Again, there are, like in gross there are 5 elements. In subtle there are 3 elements. Mind, intelligence and false ego. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhi revacha. Ahankar itiyame bhinya prakriti ashtada. What is ashta? 8. Bhumi is earth. Bhumir apo, water. Nalo, vayu, kham. Mano is man, the mind. Buddhi is intelligence. Ahankar is false ego. If you notice here, things start from gross. Earth is very gross. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can perceive it, you can mold it. What is more subtler than earth? Water. Right? Doesn't have a particular form. Wherever you put it, it takes that form, that shape. And then fire is even more subtle than water. What is more subtle than fire? Air. Can't even see it. Even more subtle. So things are getting more subtle. Air to ether. Space, sound, vacuum is even more subtle than air. Air at least you can feel. You can blow air. What can you do with ether? Sound is very extremely subtle element. Correct? And then what is more subtle than ether? Mind. Can you take it out of the... Sometimes, I used to think that ये खोल के ये निकाल दिया तो, or if I exchange my brains with Einstein, I'll get that intelligence. No. And what is intelligence? Even more subtle than mind. When someone is not working the normal way, then we say that this person is mentally challenged, this person is special, because you understand they're not working in the right or the normal frame as others do. So you understand the existence. So how do you understand the existence of the mind? Existence of the mind? When someone is doing something mechanically. How do you identify intelligence? When they open their mouth.
Decision.
Yeah, decision making. Right? Or when they open their mouth, at least you can understand. Otherwise, immediately you can't say someone is intelligent. And what's false ego? Even more subtle than intelligence. So mind is the seat of material emotions, feelings and desires. That's what mind consists of. It contains all these things. Emotions, feelings, mood swings. All this thing is related to the mind. Intelligence. It's the seat of discrimination and determination. The willpower comes from intelligence. When mind is more stronger, what happens? Willpower is difficult to keep. So intelligence, when someone is intelligent, they can have more willpower, right? And then rational thinking, that is discrimination, understanding what is right, what is wrong, taking a firm decision. That is a product, or that's a sign of intelligence. False ego has a very important role to play in this inferior material body. The thing is, this false ego covers up the soul's identity, makes it think that I am this body. This ahankar, this false ego is the culprit of why we think so much that I am this body. We don't realize that I am the soul. Yeah? So false ego is the false identity that covers up the soul's permanent identity and makes the soul misidentify with the temporary material body. So is mind spiritual or material?
Can we both?
Can be both. Again, I'll tell you the shloka from Bhagavad Gita. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhi revacha ahankar ityam me bhinna prakritir ashtadha. What does this prakriti means? Prakriti means material. Material for us, things, things made up of matter. Matter means earth, water, fire, air, ether. But air, this mind is not made up of these 5 elements. There's something more subtle in material realm. That is mind, intelligence and false ego. Now, why do I call them material? Because they are subject to change. Does the mind change?
Yes.
Intelligence improves.
Yes.
False ego also, my identity, as I told you. Ahankar. Sometimes it bloats up, sometimes it's burst. Correct? Anything subject to change means material. Yeah? The gross body and the subtle body. Next, spiritual. My original identity is the soul. What is the soul made up of? Gross body is made up of these 3 things. Subtle body is made up of these 3 things. What is the soul made up of? Sat, Chit, Ananda. What is Sat? Sat means eternal, forever. Does not change. Krishna says, Nainam chindanti shastrani, Nainam dahati pavaka. Krishna says that whatever weapon that you take, if you try to burn the soul, it's not going to be burnt. It cannot be cut, it cannot be dried, it's not soluble. It's not, can you imagine, these things are so subtle. Can you cut intelligence into 2 things? No. Right? Imagine these things are even more subtle than that. Eternal. The soul is eternal. It's chit, the consciousness, the knowledge, the consciousness of the soul, that alive, that life principle. That is what the soul is made up of. That's knowledge, chit. Ananda is, yes. Now we understand why we are looking for happiness. Because by nature, I am blissful, I am happy. And right now I think this material body, when satisfied, I am going to be happy. But the fact is, when you feed the soul, that's when you're going to be really nourished. Because this is my identity.
So when sometimes like a person dies, they say he was a good soul, he died. So what do you mean by a bad soul? If the soul is made of this,
His activities. Thinking that I am this body. Yeah. Like suppose if today I think that, I'm this person's, this property belongs to me. I'm not going to allow anyone to encroach it. Now that's an identity of me as a person staying here. Is that the identity of the soul? Soul has got nothing to do with the property, nothing to do with this body also for that matter. Why these things happen? Good soul, bad soul, or why there are activities that we do or reactions that we get will be in day 5 when we do karma theory. That's a very valid question that, if I am the soul, then what am I even doing here? Why am I even getting a material body? Right? So gross body, do we understand, is part of material body. Subtle body, is it spiritual? No, because it's subject to change. Correct? So it is again material. Bhinna prakriti rashtada. These 8 elements are prakriti, they are material. Who I am is Satchitananda. I am full of eternity. I am full of knowledge and I am blissful. This is my real identity. For example, I'll give you a nice example. Have you seen a computer? The old types computers that we had. There was a CPU, there's a monitor, there's a keyboard, there's a mouse. Yeah. Then the plug is connected, there's electricity, and that's how the machine starts. Correct? So the hardware that we see, the monitor, the screen, the CPU and everything, the hardware that we see is like the gross body. Is that okay? The software which works the entire hardware is like the subtle body. Where can I find the software? If I open up the CPU, will I find the software there? Yes? No? Where will I find the software? Where is the software? Is it inside the monitor? Is it inside the mouse? Is it inside the keyboard?
It's a program. Hard disk.
It's a program. Is it the hard disk?
That's what you saved is in the hard disk, but it's the software.
I can insert it in the hard disk, but then the software is something very subtle. Correct? It's not that I can take it out that, oh, this is software and this is hardware. You got it? That is the subtle body. The mind, intelligence, false ego are not made up of, like if I have a CD, that doesn't mean this is the software. Something which is inside it is the software. Is that okay? And then what is the soul? The electricity. The charge, the electricity is the soul. Is that clear? Without electricity, will the software work or will the hardware work? No. That's the very point.
What is sanskar?
Sorry? Values?
I mean, like,
Sanskars is how you train your intelligence and mind.
doesn't your sanskar carry forward in your soul?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that when we are doing FAQs. You just remind me, I'll write it down. Sometimes you see a child who behaves well, without any training. How is that?
That's what you know.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Is this at least the 3 parts clear? Just like this, there's a jacket, there's the gross body, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then there is mind, intelligence and false ego, which is like the inner vest, and the person who's wearing these things is the soul. Sat, Chit, Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. So now that I've understood how many bodies that I have, it's like this, inner things. The outer layer is the gross body, inside that is subtle, and uske andar hai soul. How do I detect the presence of the soul? What is the proof of the existence of the soul? How can I just say? I told you it's a scientific class, you don't have to take it from me. How do we prove?
We are alive.
We are alive.
Yeah. If the soul was not there, then we would be like a dead person.
Can you say that to a scientist? In Germany, they actually conducted an experiment to find out about the soul. So they got a person who was like ailing, and short, was about to leave. So they kept him inside a closed, like an incubator thing, made of glass, and they were thinking, now we'll see what really happens at the time of death, because that is a mystery for everyone. You keep some person alive with all life support. Sometimes all the organs are working very nicely, but the person dies. So they wanted to know what is this mystery. And just when the person took his last breath, they tried to find out everything, and they saw that there's a crack in the glass. So their conclusion was the soul escaped from the crack in the glass. Tell me, are they right?
The experiment was conducted at this time.
Yeah, in Germany.
Crack in the glass? I mean, I think soul can fly through anything if the soul goes. I mean,
Can you imagine sound or light, which is material, can pass through glass? Does soul have to wait to crack the glass and get out? It's subtle. That's what I'm trying to say. That it's right now we're still stuck with this material world around us. It's difficult to understand.
If just a comparison to that experiment, like if anybody dies in a room, they are not like cracked doors or windows.
Exactly. But I'm just saying that let's prove things. So I'm saying something. Right now in Katha Upanishad, we have a chariot of the body. This will be very clear for us to understand how do these 3 things function. What is the connectivity between the gross body, subtle body and spiritual body? How are these 3 things functioning together? It's like a chariot. Number 1, what is the purpose of the chariot? Okay, at least it's a journey. Yeah, journey of self-discovery. Fine. Yeah, so in a journey, there is a passenger. Has to be a chariot. Has to have a passenger. There's a driver. In this chariot, there are 5 horses. There are ropes which connect to connect the horses to the driver. Now, according to Katha Upanishad, the passenger is the soul who's driving on this yantra, on this machine, this chariot, correct? Where the driver is the intelligence. Who instructs the intelligence? The horses?
Yeah, like senses, the 5 senses.
In practical terms,
The driver, the passenger.
the horses tell the driver, हमको जू बीच लेके जाओ, चने खाना है.
The passenger tells the
Who has to tell the driver where it wants to go?
The
Passenger or the horses?
The passenger.
Apparently it should be the passenger. Right now what is happening? Yeah, fine, let's go that I won't be so sarcastic in the class now. Yeah, so the driver is intelligence. What are the ropes doing? The ropes are the mind, connecting the intelligence to the horses. The 5 horses are the 5 senses: ears, eyes, nose, tongue and skin. Anything that I have to perceive in this world or express has to be through these 5 things. Anything knowledge that I get has to be through these 5 senses. Again, we're doing science only, right? So eyes, nose, ears, tongue and skin are the 5 horses, correct? Connected through ropes, through reins. That is the mind. And the mind should be in the hand of the intelligence. Who should guide the intelligence? The passenger, that's the soul. Now, अभी क्या हो रहा है? The soul is sleeping. खाना नहीं दिया ना? Faint हो गया. Then what happens? The intelligence doesn't know where to go. It's not so powerful. The senses have been pampered and fed like anything. Right? The eyes wants to go somewhere. The nose wants to go somewhere. The ears wants to go somewhere. What happens then? The mind is following the same thing. The mind is following the senses. Intelligence doesn't have the power to hold the mind. Where will the soul end up? Off the cliff. Through this chariot, is it more easy to understand the functionality of our body? It's a chariot of the body, where the soul is the passenger, driver is the intelligence, mind is the reins or the ropes, 5 horses are the 5 senses that we have. Yeah. So now we come to the proof of existence of the soul. Right. Proof for the existence of the soul. There are 3 proofs. Number 1, logical proof, a scientific proof, and scriptural proof. What's a logical proof? Common sense, which is so rare. When a person, as I told you, when a person dies or passes away, who passes away?
The soul.
Soul. No matter how much endeavor and trial that we do to maintain this particular body, the soul at a destined time has to leave and go. Correct? So by common sense we understand that, just like the example of the accident I gave you, we're going to pick up that person, try to save that person, because it's much more than just the physical body. Correct? Also in morgues, how do they name the people? According to their names? They're just numbers. So it's common sense that it's definitely, the dead body is now finished. It's gone. Introspection. If you just observe, when we say my hands, my legs, my body, how are we relating? These organs and limbs belong to me, my bag, my laptop, my chair. These are objects which belong to me, right? So if suppose if I say, this is my duster, am I this duster? No, I'm much more than that, right? Or my laptop, am I this laptop? No, it's something separate from me. It belongs to me, but I am not that. So when I speak about my hand, my leg, my body, it's actually an object that belongs to me. My identity is separate. That's why when I leave this body, I have to leave these things, these objects behind. So just by a little bit of introspection, the way we talk, when someone passes away, if you just little bit introspection, you will simply understand that my existence is apart from the existence of this body. Just like the existence of the driver is apart from the existence of the car. Can the driver change cars?
Yes.
Can you change a car? Yeah, easily. You just have to get out and go and sit in another car. That's what happens at death. Correct? And then what is we did common sense, we did introspection, we have a logical proof. Now what is a scientific proof? In science there's something called NDE. It's a scientific term, you can Google it. NDE is near death experience. I'll read exactly because I don't want to say it's a scientific thing, I don't want to use the wrong jargon. It refers to NDE, it's a technical word, it's a scientific word, it means near death experience. It refers to experiences some people have when faced with impending death. These experiences include detachment from the body, feelings of levitation, extreme fear. Levitation means they are floating, actually feeling that they were floating. Extreme fear, total serenity, security or warmth and presence of a light. Right? This is a near-death experience. Now this is, who has found out this term? It's Dr. Michael Sabom. He conducted various experiences. He had so many patients who had similar experiences. Then, so many of them who went into almost a state of a flat line on an ECG. What does that mean?
Dead.
Clinically dead. They record the time, no life signs, no pulse, no heartbeat, absolutely dead. And then what happens? That person has come back to life. They have taken statements and recorded statements of so many people who've had such a NDE. That's exactly in layman words. This is what NDE means. Someone who's passed through that phase and come back, and all of them have given a very typical response. Sense of being dead, sense of floating, levitation above one's own body and seeing the surrounding area. Yeah. A sensation of moving upwards through a tunnel or narrow passageway. A lot of them have faced even this particular experience. Particularly Dr. Michael Sabom, this whole thing began when he was doing an operation on a patient and something lapsed. The patient went into shock, delirium and was dead. Everything was very clear. Everyone was helping and trying to save. What do they do that? I don't know. Yeah, resuscitation, but it didn't work. So then clinically dead. After about 15-20 minutes, this person comes back to life. And when he was awake, he was a little bit upset because he told the doctor exactly where each person was standing, what each person was doing. And he was upset with the doctor, saying that here I am dying, and instead of focusing on that, you were talking to the nurse about your golf game, which you will miss if I die.
Under anesthesia, they could feel that?
Under anesthesia, he was clinically dead, he was flatline on ECG. How did he see? So when Dr. Michael Sabom, he tried to because even he was shocked that how can this person give such accurate description. When he asked, this is the description that he gave, that I was floating above my own body. Something like this. This is a graphical representation. Of course, this is not clicked for real. It's just a graphical representation. Encountering of being a light or a feeling of being returned to the body, often accompanied by a reluctance. So this person, he was watching himself down, lying down, everyone trying to do everything, this doctor talking to the nurse. What he was talking. Can you imagine if our ears, our eyes are there in that dead body, how can we see? Or in scientific term, how can someone exist, see, hear, feel out of this body?
I have had a near-death experience, but like I have, I'm going to the tunnel and everything. But I mean, I couldn't see, I was like, for me, that my feeling was, okay, why are they bothering about me,
Yeah.
Those thoughts were there,
Yeah, these are all taken.
Me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even you felt this, the
Yeah.
tunnel thing?
Yeah. I like, and my blood pressure dropped 0, and
Correct.
like I
So
was
when you
going.
felt this experience means what?
I had bought her.
Yeah, of course. Please, it is important.
Yeah, I had ruptured ectopic pregnancy, and the doctors didn't know that I was pregnant because my tests were not coming positive, and it was in the tube. It was just the first month, so the tests were neither positive nor negative. And my reports, like I went to another gynae, and the reports had come, and the reports I was supposed to collect on Saturday. But I said, anyway, no point in collecting it on Saturday. Anyway, she's not going to see me. I'll collect it on Monday and I'll show it to her. And that night happened to be a eclipse. So that is why, I believe in eclipse and all. Saturday night was an eclipse. Okay? And how, in friends, okay, eclipse, you shouldn't go out anywhere, whatever. Sunday early morning, I went to the washroom and I collapsed. Okay, they quickly called the doctors and everything. They called up my gynae and she said, immediately rush her to hospital. She was supposed to, I was supposed to see her reports and they should have come by now, but I talked to the thing and whatever. So I was pregnant, which nobody was aware of it because it was just the initial and it was stuck in the tube, and the sonologist could not make it out that it was in the tube. But anyway, the tube had bursted. They tried to revive me at home. My blood pressure dropped to 0. They gave me sugar water, and by the time I get admission in the hospital,
the whole procedure.
You have to wait for 10 minutes till they get a phone call and all these things. And I was dying, like they were doing, and I was like excruciating pain. When the tube burst, the whole the blood. So they took out 1.5 liters of blood from my stomach. So everything was like, the moment I got up, went to the loo, I was just coming. I quickly just opened the door and I fell outside. I mean, luckily I opened the door
At
because
least
something started happening and I just collapsed. So that the blood, it must have bursted in the middle of the night. But when I got up, it just
Kind
came
of
around the
separated,
morning. And they are trying to revive me, and my feelings, my thoughts, what my feelings were, like, why are they bothering about it? Why are they pulling me? Why do they want me? One side that pain is the excruciating pain, one side they are pulling my hand, they are putting the needles and doing all those things, and one side I'm going somewhere very peacefully, I'm just going up. Somewhere, I don't know where I'm going, but I just had that floating feeling, I'm just going up very peacefully, and I'm thinking it's so beautiful, it's so peaceful over here, and that sound is coming very far, that they are like they're pulling me, they're pushing me, why are they crying, why is the phone ringing, why, because there's continuous phone call from Beach Daddy, from Bombay Hospital, those sort of things. And I'm just going. And the next, I think, is like, I don't know where I went, I must have lost my consciousness. The next I see that my husband has lifted me and he's in the elevator, taking me down.
Oh,
So,
my God.
Yeah.
This is live. This is scientific.
So that time I started believing. I did not know that time that soul was energy, that, nothing I knew, But it was like my introspection. There is something
Definitely.
which I, so like I was saying how I got, so I've always got more interested.
That means you were technically, we were standing around you, you were unconscious, but you knew the phone was ringing. How do you know?
That's what I'm saying. That I mean, my half my mind is here, half my mind is there. It was just like I'm going somewhere. It is something very, very peaceful, something very nice. I can feel the pain also, and they are pulling me. But their sound is very
Very, very
right
vague. Yeah.
But it was like coming
Very faint.
very faint, as if I'm somewhere very high up.
Amazing.
And then after that, the thing is that even in the hospital, when she this thing operated on me and all, they said that again I had gone through that because my blood pressure had dropped 0. Clinically, I was there. All the sisters, they left. Only one sister was there. she just stitched me up because normally they do a plastic surgery
Yes.
for the tube.
Yes.
She had no time to stitch me up because my blood pressure was dropping. So she just put a tape, like something like that.
Yeah.
She just taped it and put sutures here and there, and like my nails and all become blue and all, my feet and all become blue,
Oh.
and like they were like,
Ready to bend.
yeah, like there was only one sister who was there, and it was like
She's kind of winding up there.
sort of, that is what
My
they
God.
told me, that this had happened to you. Like they thought, and by the time Samya she went to scrub her hands and remove and like and then she again came back and the sister informed the patient was like that. So, but that time I didn't feel anything. That's why I said under anesthesia, because that time obviously I was under anesthesia, but I did not feel anything. This is what I heard them telling me. Because I had, all stitches were, said we have to do this too, and we could not do plastic surgery.
Correct.
So,
My God, that's so scary. I've heard so many things, but I'm not
because,
have it.
I mean, I always share this with my students. Anybody, I share. I said, I make them believe that no, this is what I have experienced.
Exactly.
So there is something inside our physical body, though we don't believe it, but this is
So
what I
one
experienced.
question. What gives this all back?
Destiny. Karma theory, day 5. If you still have some time left, then you have to come back. And then maybe she was destined to come and say this here. See that? So here these things of going through the tunnel, actually a lot of them gave this particular site also. So this is NDE. And also there's something called OBE. Either it's interchangeably used as out of body experience, that the sense of levitation, and you can see everything around. There were patients who could see everything from the top of it was as if they were floating in the ceiling and they could see everything. Correct? So how do you hear, how do you see, where your organs are there in the dead body? That means the soul has his own eyes, his own ears, his own... It's like a cameraman using a camera. Does the camera have eyes of his own? Yeah, the lens is there. Yeah, but is it comes alive, or is there meaning to it when there is a cameraman behind who has his own eyes to look through the lens? So this is just like a lens. Once it's lying there, it is dead. Okay. So that person is the soul with his own set of senses, using this gross body. Why will be day 5? That'll be so it'll get more clearer. Right now we're talking about our identity. Correct? So we are the soul, often having a out of the gross body experience. Okay. So also, what is the we finished the logical part, logical proof. The second was a scientific proof. In scientific proof, the first proof was NDE. The second proof is reincarnation theories. This is Dr. Ian Stevenson, Professor of Psychiatry. He has, in West Virginia, has extensively investigated spontaneous reincarnation memories recounted by children, small kids. Stevenson has assembled numerous accounts of over 3,000 cases of reincarnation, verified them through thorough scientific precision. Means he actually did not just because a person is saying it, he did not believe it. He actually tried, found out things about what they're saying, went to their background, quick check there, what place, everything that they're mentioning. Always taking great care to screen out fabrications, imaginations. Scholars, agnostics and skeptics all have accepted his studies because they were so thorough, they were so scientific. To provide the most convincing evidence to date that there is a conscious self that can travel from one physical existence to another. One body to another body, which is along with Dr. Satyajit Pasricha, he actually solved a case in India. This is this girl, Shukla, who was in her past life Mana Chakravarti. Shukla, she was born in West Bengal to parents who were working in railways. It's not very old also, this case. And when she was growing, around 1.5-year-old, she would take a pillow, small pillow of hers, and keep it on her lap and cry. Call this pillow Meenu. And everyone thought that it's just something that kids are doing. When she would cry, and when she came to, an age where she could speak, and she was speaking a total different dialect of Hindi, and they were quite surprised, that how is she doing this? And slowly they thought maybe she has a mental disorder or what. And then they contacted Dr. Satwant Pasricha, who's from Bangalore, this lady here, and they tried to understand that this might be a case of reincarnation. And they tried to take all details from this small girl Shukla. She named the name of this particular village, and she couldn't recollect anything where this village was. Now the father had some friends close to that village. This village was in UP. And they actually found out, they took Shukla there. And what happens? The minute she reached the village, the main market area, she started walking as if she's been here before. And meanwhile all the scientists were trying to find out, if by any chance, even during pregnancy, if the mother has visited this particular place. No. This girl started walking as if she knows this place so well. She reached that particular home where, apparently she was in her past birth. She enters this home, identifies her past husband, identifies her child Meenu. For her, she was just a baby, who was actually 12 years old now. And she called her Meena. She's 3 years and she's calling her 12-year-old her child, and she's saying, this is Meenu. That was true. Identified her in-laws, her brother-in-laws, even by the names that, which was just called in the household. Identified her sewing machine, where it was kept, her room, everything. And for her, she was back home. She was Mana Chakravarti, who had lost her life just few days after she gave birth to her child. And then she was born again as this girl, Shukla. But as she grew old, like about 12, 13, these particular memories started fading out. So the thing is, the point that I'm trying to make, it might be very fascinating, but I can't imagine she almost lost her childhood in her past past life. So this here, it's a whole, she was here in one physical body, and now she's in the next physical body. With different set of parents, different set of surroundings. Later on she got adjusted to it, but the point that I'm trying to make is the passage of the soul from one body to the next. So right now, the scientists are not pinpointing it that, oh, this is Atma, this is the soul. What they're pointing out is that consciousness out of a physical body is definitely possible. What they come to is what is already written in the Vedas, in the scriptures, in our mother. The scriptures, yeah.
So how long does the soul take to enter another?
Minimum 3 months. There could be more.
So is it necessary each time you keep dying? How many times does the soul keep traveling? There's never like an end.
There are some 84,000 years?
84 lakh species are there. Those are the possible options that you can take birth. Not necessary that you have to go through all of them. We'll come to this question in day 5. How long have we been here? How many births have we taken? Correct? In chapter 2, verse number 13, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapte dhiras tatra namuyati. Krishna talks about reincarnation. Krishna talks about changing bodies. He talks about 2 types of reincarnation. One internal and one external. This particular shloka, even scientists do not know about these things, but they're pinpointing to the same thing. More clarity we get in the scriptures. What does this shloka say? As the embodied soul, can you read this translation here? Continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. So the first part of the shloka shows internal reincarnation. Do you have pictures of your first birthday, second birthday? Did you look the same?
No.
I wish. I don't. Correct? This body was completely different. Every 7 years of my life, all the cells in my body have completely changed. Rejuvenation. I have a different body, so to speak. That is internal reincarnation. That's what Krishna says. From boyhood to youth to old age. There is change in the body, but the soul is the same. Is that what you get? What your name is? Jayashri. You were Jayashri when you were a child, when you were young. Now when you're old again, you'll be still called Jayashri. With the same soul, passing through different bodies. Bodies of a child, body of a young girl, body of a mother, and then now body, later on you're going to get a body of a very old person. But we feel the same. I just feel that, I was just, I still remember my college days, I still remember my school days. I still remember how I looked when I was that small. But even scientifically, the cells in my body, everything, the skin, everything has changed. So that is internal reincarnation. Even right now there is reincarnation going on. I am changing bodies. Then what happens when this body is useless? Just like any machinery has a particular lifespan, warranty or whatever they give. 5 साल तो चलेगा. उसके बाद, you have to change TVs because it doesn't work anymore. When this body gets old, doesn't work anymore, jara or old age, what happens? The soul similarly passes into another body at the time of death. When we are dead, just like how it was passing through different stages in this particular life, when this body is useless, it moves to the next body. That is external reincarnation.
So it leaves with you another very question is like, how do you know which soul is going to go to which body?
The activities will define.
Karma.
That's karma again. Everything, class 5, I am telling you, it will be absolutely clear. Then you will be like, then what? Then what do you have to do will be the question in day 6. Right? Because there are a few concepts of time, factor and everything we need to understand before going into that theory of karma. So internal reincarnation, where the soul is changing bodies within a lifetime. External reincarnation is, lifetime is over. Start with a new womb. Start the next lifetime. When the soul completes an entire lifetime in a particular body, it leaves the body and enters into another body. This is called external reincarnation, or soul entering another womb. Is that okay? So how many proofs do we have? We have 3 proofs. Number 1, logical proof. Through common sense and introspection, we can understand the existence of the soul. Scientific, through near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and even reincarnation theories show that there can be existence, consciousness out of this gross body. Number 3, scriptural proof. Bhagavad Gita speaks about internal reincarnation and external reincarnation. Fine. So why put faith in scriptures? Because they are a map. Let us give us accurate information. Who am I? Am I this body? I'm the soul. Correct? I'm just checking how many are awake. Then how many bodies do we have? 2? 2, one inferior, one inferior and one superior. That way too, but actually 3. Gross body, subtle body, spiritual body. Gross body is what I can see. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. The hardware of the computer. Software, subtle body. Mind, intelligence and ego. The electricity is the soul. It is Sat, Chit, Ananda. So if someone gives you some spiritual process through which you can control your mind, your intelligence will become better, you become sharper memory. Is this spiritual? Is this material? Spiritual. I'll repeat the question.
So no need to have
Someone gives you, no need to have almonds. For the soul to function nicely, the car has to work properly. Yeah. So here, the question, I'll repeat again. I forgot the question actually. What did I say? What is the question? Almonds.
Somebody gives you...
Someone gives you some method, some procedure, saying that it is spiritual. What it only does is controls your mind, enhances your intelligence. Is this procedure material or spiritual? Spiritual. Material or spiritual?
It's material because it's just giving you temporary happiness.
Spiritual happiness is permanent happiness. Yes. Food for the soul is when I'm going to be permanent. Yes, mind control can help me get to or make me realize that I am the soul. Yes, better intelligence helps me read the scriptures, understand the scriptures. Still, it has a limit because it is pertaining to something material. Otherwise, the scientists should have been the best devotees, no? They have such good intelligence. But they are far from God. Right? Food for the soul means spiritual. Spiritual means it should not change. Mind is subject to change. Intelligence is subject to change. It's not spiritual. It's going to be the same. Huh? In that sense, it's always going to be material. Now, can we come? Oh, yeah. Reincarnation. Why don't we remember our past lives? मुझे क्यों नहीं याद आता? Why only some selected people?
Yeah, even I would say that.
Why don't I remember?
Why they go to a psychotherapist and they try
Some
to,
regression therapies are there.
Yeah, past life regression and all those.
You know, there was a particular person who actually related to what he was 75 or 80 years old, and he could actually pinpoint in regression. He could speak what he did in his 5th birthday. Exactly what he did in his 5th birthday. I don't even remember what I did yesterday this time, or what I ate yesterday. I'll have to really rack my head. The thing is, memory is something which is different in everyone. Yeah? We don't remember our past life, it's a boon. Because imagine what happened to Shukla. It doesn't let you be, imagine someone who's lost his memory in some other city and he gets married again and then the previous wife comes. What happens? It's chaos. You're not able to start with a new leaf. It's actually a blessing in disguise that we don't remember our past lives. Some people do, because there are, in fact, all of us have some vestiges of our past life, some phobias. You can't explain it. Some children are scared to go in the dark. Some of us are still scared of, fire, water phobia, arachnophobia, so many things are there. Correct? That's because of some experience our mind has had in the past life, which has left a deep impression in the soul, in the mind. Musicians, born musicians.
It has left impression in the mind or in the soul?
In the mind.
How can the mind? Because of mind. Because it is the soul that is traveling and taking the.
Yeah, now you get it. Now what happens is, I'm coming to this point. The point when we come through FAQs about the soul. Scriptures are like, quick recap. Scriptures are like a mother. I'm not the body, I'm the eternal soul. Proof of existence, logical, scientific, scriptural. How many bodies do we have? 3. Now, we come to FAQs. Give me a minute. In FAQs on the soul, what happens to us after death? Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani dehani naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new dresses, this is an analogy which Krishna presents in 2nd chapter, verse number 22. He says, as a person puts on new dresses, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Like when I go home, these clothes are soiled now. I put it down, I wear my home clothes. Do I cry? Hey, mere kapde. No, I don't cry because it's given up. Right? And then I accept new. Same way, it's like a soul who's wearing different set of clothes, different roles, different identities, giving it up and then picking up new ones. Correct? The soul leaves the gross body behind. What about the subtle body? It's taken to the another womb based on the quality of desires stored in his subtle body at the time of death. Little technical, I'll repeat. The soul leaves what behind?
The body.
The gross body, the clothes, just like how I put off my clothes. Correct? Just like the hardware is dumped. Software can be reused?
Yes.
Mind, intelligence and ego is something which moves from one body to the next. So we have the same subtle body coming from so many. Whenever we have a gross body, there's going to be a same subtle body which I had in the last birth. That's how we're carrying phobias. That's how we're carrying memories. That's how we carry.
That means the mind or whatever travels with the soul.
Travels with the soul. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. These two, because the soul. Can we remember?
False ego, no? Because it drops his identity.
Yeah, but identity being a gross body. Now the false ego is going to take on this. He's going to convince me that now I am this particular gross body. It's not only, gross body, but it's also subtle body. Now I'll tell you how the subtle body works. I feel depressed. Is it something with the gross body?
No.
With the subtle body. Yeah, something to do with the mind. It affects me. Correct? Has the soul got to do anything with the mind?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
What has it got to do with the mind? It is Sat Chit Ananda.
So, but the mind is a controller.
Mind is the controller, or is the passenger the controller? Again, chariot of the body, if I bring it back. The soul is the passenger.
Passenger gives the rein of the whatever in the hands of the driver.
Of the driver. If the passenger is sleeping, who instructs the driver? Or if the horses are wild, what happens?
The driver only takes charge of everything because the passenger has given the charge to the driver.
Yeah, but if the passenger is sleeping, what happens? Right now, the passenger is thinking, inko lene do decision. You get what I'm trying to say? Right now, the passenger is sleeping, and that's why this chariot is going wherever it wants. Sleeping in the sense, I'm not saying that it's dead, but I'm saying that it's not aware. It is thinking that I am this subtle body, and I am this gross body. I am depressed. That's why we feel, when we are depressed, it shows even in our gross body. But actually, it's got nothing to do. Like something is, let me go to that analogy of hardware, software, and electricity. Is the electricity independent of the hardware and software?
Yes.
If it unplugs and plugs to the next thing, can I take the software also to the next computer? Yeah, it's going to function just like it was in the first computer. Does the software get spoiled? Can I upgrade the software?
Yes.
So mind, intelligence and false ego is subject to change. That way it is material. Because all my desires that is there, it's packed in the mind. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. That's why the soul takes birth again. It will be more clear in the karma theory. But right now when I'm
talking about the driver, that is not very clear because normally, like I was saying, okay, I want to go over here. Then the driver, it is up to the driver's discretion which route to take, which route to follow.
correct.
Okay, which route to follow. So basically, the passenger is just giving the instructions. The
But
driver.
what if you're sleeping? Who gives the instruction? That means the car.
And the driver doesn't know.
can't just know.
Driver doesn't know. And right now there are horses here, who want to, each one has their own idea of,
going in different directions.
yeah. What if the soul thinks that if I let them do what they want to do, I'll be happy?
That's what normally we think.
Yeah. If I think my eyes are satisfied, my ears are satisfied, my skin is satisfied, or my nose or ears are satisfied, they're happy, that's what makes me happy. Is that what is making us happy?
That's all temporary happiness.
Yeah, it's temporary.
We think that's
It's
good
very,
news.
very tiny. It's like, somebody giving you water in a desert, one drop. It makes you even more thirsty. Correct? So the point I'm trying to make is subtle body moves with the soul. Depends on the quality of desires stored in the subtle body. The soul will follow that subtle body. Means my destiny is to take birth somewhere else. How that destiny works will come in the karma theory. Now when this subtle body pulls the soul out, and it's arranged by the Lord because He wants us to fulfill our desires. Correct? It moves from one body to the next, from this body to the next, from this body to the next. That's why I'm carrying all the impressions, memory, all these things are subtle body. Is that okay? Right now, I have two inferior things, gross body which I have to leave back because it is perishable by nature. Earth, water, fire, aretha all have their limitations, perishability. Correct? And then there is, like even in vegetables, some vegetables like leafy vegetables perish very soon. Something like a tomato at least lives more than the perishable. Grains live even more than that. So that way, subtle body moves on with the soul. But subject to change, that's why it is material. Is that okay? Yeah. Next, that's why that sanskar value, someone is born musician, because they're carrying that particular frame of mind, that particular
I meant
inclination.
samskar, I mean, like, what I meant was that even the intelligence part, what I mean to say is that, like,
Yes.
IQ part is also...
Yes. Intelligence, like imagine if I take out the brain of Einstein and put it in someone, does he become intelligent? No, because Einstein, that soul, has taken that intelligence with him. Yeah, that aptitude of what that intelligence has is gone with him. Now, exact details of, if he won't remember E is equal to MC squared when he, yes, but those things will be, that logical thinking will be easier for him then. The detailing is not there. I can't even remember what happened yesterday, or a year back for that matter. Detailing is not there, but I can tell you roughly where I was. Is that okay? What happens to us after death? Soul cannot be cut to pieces by any weapon, or burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind. So when the body is burnt, does the soul burn? No. It has already gone. Nothing affects the soul. Is the soul same in every person?
No.
We are all independent living entities. All are individual souls. Is that okay? It's not that your and my soul are the same. No. She has a separate, I have a separate existence. The soul is an individual. Natvevaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janadipa. Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve bhavayam atah param. It means never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. There's something called merging. Two souls can't merge together. They are always individuals. They are always fragmental parts. Does the soul have a form? I gave the answer yes, Penny. Does the soul have a form? Yes. Spiritual form. For me, form means...
physical, I mean...
Yeah.
Like,
Sketch, they know.
I mean, you can't... They say it's like a Jyotirbindu, but like...
Jyotirbindu?
What's Jyotirbindu?
Does the soul have a form? किधर गया? Is it formless? Is it desireless? From material point of view, yes. The soul is not made up of earth, water, fire, air and ether. Doesn't have a material form. For us, form means made up of these 5 elements.
I mean, shape.
Because we're stuck with a material mind and material intelligence. Right now I'm talking about something beyond. I'm talking about something spiritual. Spiritual things can also have a form. It does. It does have a form. It has its own original form and spiritual desires also. More about that will be in day 5. When we understand what is the kingdom of God. What is this material world. Day 5, na? You're thinking, this day 5. This day 5.
You're creating a lot of curiosity for the class.
So you have to come back. No, that's it. The soul gives form to matter. Is that right? Does matter have any form by itself? This body, once the soul leaves it, what happens? Disintegrates, starts falling apart, immediately starts decomposing. Is that right? The nails on my finger grow till the time it's connected to this body. The minute I cut my nails and throw it, will it grow? Hair. We have to wear wigs. This is not a wig. But what happens? Till the time it's connected to the soul, it will grow. Correct? Where does the soul reside? Ghar kahan hai? Now I am saying that I live in this house. Suppose I live in this house. Nice house. I live in this house. But I'll be in a particular room. Na? I'm not going to be everywhere at the same time. I'm going to be in a particular place. Say today I'm in the kitchen. Today I'm... I'll have my own room. From where, even in offices, the boss has, and his existence is there. Through his energies, his people are working. Where does the soul reside? Which region?
Over here?
Over here?
No, I mean, that's what they said.
No, I'm just asking you. Where does the soul reside?
Where does the soul reside in the body?
Here? In the body. Here.
It's
What does Krishna say? Bhagwate Gita says, soul resides in the region of the heart. Movie songs and they sing from the heart. Are you connected with this thing from the heart? The existence is, now it's not like a marble which is stuck in the heart, which I can kind of wear in the left ventricle, right ventricle, in the veins or the arteries. No, it's in the region of the heart. If there's a heart transplant, if I give my heart to you, do you get my soul? No, it's like a chair. The person sitting on the chair is independent of the chair. If I have to exchange a chair, I have to simply get up, take the chair and sit again. So soul resides in the region of the heart, not in the heart. It's not, if you open the heart and no one find the soul. It's that region where he is. Like I am independent in the house, I can be anywhere, plus I have my own room. Correct? So the room of the soul is the heart. So when the heart stops,
The soul is supposed to move.
soul is supposed to move. When the soul is gone, the heart stops. If the brain is dead, the person is still alive.
Yeah.
If the heart stops,
The heart stops, the person is dead.
any organ which fails, the person can still be kept alive, can go on. Once the heart stops, because that battery, that power, that electricity, whatever you do, you can't survive. Yeah? So the soul lives in the region of the heart. Is this clear? You are looking a little confused.
No, not confused, because even earlier I used to believe that the soul lives in the region of heart, and then I read and I heard that it lives over here. It's in the this thing over here in the center of the forehead, and that is why you put a bindi and all this sort of.
Oh no! That's one of the energy points. That's one of the energy points. It takes in a lot of energy, vibrations. This can be, but the soul resides in the region of the heart. That's what the scriptures say.
Yeah, because earlier I used to believe that one.
Yeah. Size of the soul. I told you it has a form. It lives in the region of the heart. What is the size of the soul? It's quite amazing, huh? What is this picture? If you take hair, 1/10,000 tip of the hair. Keshagra Bala. There's one particular shloka which says, if you take the tip of the hair, cut it into 10,000 parts. That one single thing, whatever is left, is the size of the soul. It's so tiny. Anything that tiny can do such amazing things. It can move an elephant, it can move a tree, a soul in the Ashwath ped, that the banyan tree, is also the same size. The soul in the elephant, the soul in the ant, the soul in us is all the same size. It's 1/10,000 tip of the hair. How do I know? Scripture says so. Okay, how can we see the soul? Can we see the soul? How can we see something so tiny? Because it is not material. We think हम लोग को microscope लगेगा, सब लगेगा. Correct? But no, you can see the soul. How can I see the soul? Can you see oil in the oil seeds?
Yes.
Yes? If I open a oil seed, मतलब तेल निकलेगा? Yeah, there's some procedure. Can we see ghee in the milk? Abhi doodh. And see, oh, ghee. It doesn't work like that. Can we see sugar in the sugar cane? No. But it is possible through a procedure. I have to do something. I have to crush the sugar cane, take out the juice, heat the juice, then I get jaggery, heat it further, then it forms. Yeah, it crystallizes. Is that right? So then, follow a certain procedure. Yes, it's existing. The soul is there and we can see it. Now the problem is, what we are trying to do, or the German scientists were trying to do, is finding it through material apparatus, material science. Now what are the three main divisions of science? Physics, chemistry and botany, bio. Yeah. Can I use a biology apparatus for a physical experiment? Sure. Both are material sciences. Or a chemistry, like a litmus paper to do a botanical experiment? No, even material science, we cannot interchange the apparatus. Right now I'm talking about something spiritual. How can I find the soul within a microscope? How are the scientists thinking that they can't even interchange material science apparatus, which are apparently just earth, water, fire, air, ether. What else are they going to test? Anything apart from these 5 elements? Still you have to use separate apparatus. What to speak about spiritual? to find spiritual things, you'll have to use a spiritual apparatus. If we have to get a, chalo experiment shuru karte hai. I have to find the soul, correct? To see the soul is my aim. The apparatus which I use is spiritual apparatus. A is missing. Proceed. What is the theory? Study of scriptures. You need a book, right? There's botany textbook, there is physiology, everything has a textbook of its own. Scriptures is the textbook for soul, for spiritual things. Procedure is mantra meditation, what we're going to start today. Wow. Observation, to see the soul. Conclusion, yes, soul can be seen by spiritual practices. So electricity is difficult to see, do you agree with me? By the effect I understand the existence of electricity, correct? So by consciousness I can understand that the soul is present, and the fact is that I can also see the soul provided I follow the procedure. So if one practices the process of mantra meditation regularly and seriously by chanting the holy names of that Hare Krishna Mahamantra repetitively and hearing it attentively, what happens? This particular procedure will definitely lead to awakening the soul, and you can directly see and observe with your eyes. More about chanting of Hare Krishna is session 6. Abhi to 5 bhi nahi hai. 6. How it works, what is the technicality, and why only Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Why not anything else? That again will be session 6. So is this okay? We had about 8 questions. What is the size? Yeah.
Even if you see after all that, you said it's 1/8 of what do you see in that?
What do you see in that?
Yeah,
It's not material. It is spiritual. For me, 1/10,000 must be like a microbe, or even smaller than a
So
microbe.
basically you can't see. Is it, you mean to say?
Can see. Second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam shows Narad Muni saw his own soul. Saw himself as that soul, resplendent.
So then you have to teach us chanting today, because I would want to see my soul.
Yes, the proof of the pudding is in
Even if you see,
eating.
how does it help?
How does it help?
My mature questions.
No, it's not immature. It's. I understand. What are the advantages of knowing the soul? What is the? See, this is a full proof plan. I have all backing. What are the advantages of knowing the soul? It's fun. It's ecstasy. You will realize yourself. You will know what's my identity. Life becomes so much more easier. It's easier to forgive people because insults are only to the body. Sorry, not to the soul. This should be body.
Yeah.
This should be body. Insults is only to the body. When I'm depressed, it's a material thing. The soul cannot be suppressed. It's such a ananda. Imagine when you realize that you're not this body. Things that have happened to you have not really happened to you. Your soul, I'm independent. Forbearance, tolerance. You can tolerate more easily. Imagine even family members. People who can hurt you the most are who? I'm no close to. Correct? The people that I'm most close to have the authority to hurt me. But imagine if you don't get hurt. Materially or even emotionally. What kind of power does that give you? That internal strength. Is it important in life?
Yes.
Yeah. That spiritual strength will help you tolerate, will give you forbearance. It will teach us to forgive, and it's fun. It will be ecstatic. Guarantee.
So then that's why don't make me die my enthusiasm.
Yeah. We'll teach you soon. Right? So can we start chanting? After a quick recap, you have a question?
No.
Scriptures are like our mother. I am not this body, I am the soul. Yeah, the proof of existence is 3: logical, scientific and scriptural. We have 3 bodies, and I thought I'm nobody. I have 3 bodies, correct? FAQs about the soul, science, I understood the size of the soul. It exists, everyone is individual person. Frequently asked questions. Where am I residing? Region of the heart. So is it my soul or is it I am the soul?
I am soul.
Very good, very good. Chalo, ho gaya. So this is a revision thing. We'll do it at home because right now it is 12:58. We have to chant. To learn to chant. Can you pass it to everyone? It's just a small thing that you can do at home. So you'll understand whether I've understood all the concepts or still pending.